Hi there, it's Dave, and welcome to the ADK channel. Unfortunately, we've got no Andy and no Kirk with me today. They are tied up currently with other interview work for other videos that will be up on the channel very soon. But today I have Lee and Gogo from the Norwich-based band Perseus.
Free.
Welcome to the channel. Thank you for coming in and speaking. We've got a few questions to talk about the band. Really just to highlight to people, because obviously we are a Hertfordshire-based initial channel, so some of the people may not know of yourselves. I know that we know a few of the same bands you played with, like the Hot 1-2 are bands that we know very well from Cambridge. Awesome band, and
some guys.
They're a great band, fun guys. Seen them many times, chatted to them. We've had them on my other channel, but I wanted to talk a little bit about your band. So let's kick into the first question. Perseus. Why is the band called Perseus? Where did the name come from? Give us a bit of background. We kind of know the Greek mythology of Perseus. Well, I do, but help us out on the channel.
That's a weird question, really, because I joined the band slightly late. So it was called Perseus before I joined, wasn't it?
It was actually Perseus before I joined as well.
So no one knows why you're called Perseus.
I don't know.
Alan knows.
Alan knows. Alan's not here. I'd like to put some sort of like super powerful metaphorical reason. I guess it sounds quite powerful. I guess
it's the Greek god that killed Medusa, so we're going with that. You're slaying the beast. Maybe that's it sounds very metal. Let's go with that.
Monday to Sunday.
So help me out with a little bit about. So obviously you guys joined later on, but could you give us a little bit of a history of a little bit of a background of the band, of how it's came together, and then obviously how you guys joined? And
it started as a cover band actually. And I think we just wanted to see how we gel all together,
right?
So we started with covers and stuff. We've done a few successful gigs actually on covers, but the ultimate goal was actually writing and doing our own music. And that was our ultimate goal achievement really. And that's when we started to commit ourselves to write original songs, and that's how it started.
I think Alan, the guitarist, like he's always had this. Alan's been in a few bands before as well. And he was in a thrash metal band called Deviant, and they did very, very well actually. And then Alan wanted to sort of put this band together with the aim of playing good shows, but ultimately record an album of like really powerful original kind of metal tracks that everybody in the band contributed to. And I joined after, I think you had like one or two singers before me, and then Alan sort of reached out and said, Lee, do you want to give it a go? So Alan's my brother, and kind of came to me and just said, yeah, do you want to give it a go? And my background was a little bit of a mixture of kind of punk, hardcore, a bit of folk chucked in there as well, weirdly. And yeah, came in, we did some cover shows, didn't we, Pedro? And like the covers that we were doing were awesome, like Anthrax, Medusa and stuff like that, Rainbow in the Dark, Idea and things. So it was really interesting, and it created a bit of a buzz really as a covers band, because you don't really see that sort of stuff. And then we just started writing, and I think everybody,
we always had ideas in all of us.
And I think the interesting thing is like we all contribute to that songwriting process. We're all really interested. We can all write lyrics. We can all we all contribute to guitar parts and bass and song structure and stuff like that. So that's kind of the background. And then we got really excited by that, because actually the original music that we were writing, we really liked. We all sort of agreed on, which is quite unheard of in a lot of the bands. I mean, there's always someone that's like, oh no, I don't really like that, or we were all really into it.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because we all, the four guys, we are all come from different backgrounds, and it makes it very interesting because we put a bit of our styles of what we listen to into our writing, so you create something, well, I don't want to say new, but it is sort of interesting.
It's okay. So you kind of touched on a topic I wanted to go on to, which is you said you all bring your own different sort of styles of what you've listened to. So could you throw a few of the influences? Because I mean, I've listened to Asylum and I listened to I Killed Jane Austen, so I had to listen to those two tracks, and I can pull out a certain few influences from those straight off. But I'd be, and you've mentioned a couple of those sort of things already in what you were talking about from a covers point of view. So vocally and sound wise, I can kind of pick some of that out of there. But could you give us an idea of the influences that you think that you're all kind of bringing into this songwriting?
Yeah, I think, you know, from my point of view, I love metal, but I also like kind of it's alternative metal, punk, hardcore and stuff. So, you know, old school kind of Minor Threat stuff. But then coming back to metal, I love Joey Belladonna, you know, Anthrax, and I think one of my biggest influences is quite possibly Chino Marino from the Deftones. And I think that's more because the stage presence, I don't know, and that vocal range is just absolutely incredible and faultless. But you know, so there's a little bit of it's. I love that metal sound, but I'm never going to be able to get to that. I haven't got the range of like Joey or anybody like that, or you know, Chino really. But I'd say it's that stage presence that I go for, and that kind of power.
Well, definitely are a live band.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I definitely heard when I was listening to Asylum, there was elements of early Iron Maiden in there, like Killer's era, like Paul Di'Anno vocal styles in there.
Nice.
That real kind of snappy, not trying to do the operatic Bruce Dickinson style. It was that like rough child. Yeah. I could really got that vibe off of it.
It's not because I'm not trying. It's because there's no way.
But interestingly as well, I heard early punk in there. So like, well, not early punk, but I heard late 70s punk kind of.
You are completely right, because my influences are sort of the 80s underground gothic rock music.
Right. Okay.
So Fields of the Nephilim,
okay,
Sisters of Mercy, and even more modern metal goth. I don't know if you're familiar with Moonspell.
Yeah.
Yep. So there is my strong influences that I've got on my bass playing. So it's very, how do I say it? You don't have to overcomplicate things.
No.
Make them sound right.
I mean, you do have a very... I kind of wrote a couple of things which was like classic hard rock, new wave of British heavy metal, kind of merged together. Early, I also wrote like things like, apart from like the early Iron Maiden, I also put down like the early Anthrax, which is why it was quite interesting when you said Anthrax, Joey Belladonna, because I really picked that up on that. As soon as I heard, I think about the first minute's worth of Asylum, they were the influences I was able to kind of call out very quickly. So it's great. It means that I can kind of put you down a little bit there about kind of where you sort of sit, but
it's sort of, yeah, it's really hard to kind of, you know, and then our drummer's got completely different influence as well, and he's much more kind of rock focused and hadn't really played double pedal before joining us, and then he just really liked our songs, so he actually learned to do that while writing this music with us. So that's really exciting. He's just so into it, and Alan is just sort of metal through and through. I don't know.
And you can hear that on his guitar.
Yeah,
you can definitely hear that.
I definitely picked that up. I mean, it's one of those ones that whenever we interview and talk to people about music, and we ask them, so where we try and like, or even when we do reactions, we talk about where the bands sit in what genre, what field, how would you categorize them? And we get a lot of the questions of like, why do you keep trying to pigeonhole people? And I go,
True.
Well, we're not trying to pigeonhole people, but what we're trying to do is, if you knew someone that was into this style of band, would you recommend this band to them? So you need a kind of reference point. So if you said, well, someone likes the punky, they like the early Iron Maiden stuff, would I recommend them Perseus? I would go, yeah. If they liked Rammstein, maybe not the same sort of thing. So you kind of know where, and that's why we use this kind of trying to work out, not try to say you can only be that sort of thing, but it helps us kind of.
But that's why it's interesting with us. It's because we are metal, but we are a very kind of special metal, I suppose, because we don't really fit nowhere and we fit everywhere. We've done gigs from soft rock to completely like thrash metal to heavy metal. We've opened up for a lot of completely different styles, and we
death metal and so, everything.
Death metal.
It's a real nightmare for promoters.
Yes, that is always one of the fun ones when you get to a bill and you have everyone growling and shouting, and then you get another band that comes. They put them in the middle, and you're like, I don't understand, why are they on this bill? I don't. But where do they sit and how do they fit? And it's always a challenge. You've got to convert those people.
But I think there's always something interesting for those. Like we'll play with sort of grindcore bands, or we'll go and see them, and they'll comment, "Oh, I really like that guitar part there, or I really like that, or I really like that doom metal bit on the end of your song." There's sort of, without sounding too sort of cliched or whatever, it's like, there's a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's a bit weird, unless you're like really into sort of pop and things like that. It's probably not you want to come in, but
I'm pretty sure we can pull that up as well.
It probably could. But then again, the songs that you might think is stereotypically kind of epic metal, we then turn into like 3.5 minutes of really snappy kind of. There's a pop structure sometimes to our songs as well. It's more about kind of energy, and that verse chorus, verse chorus bridge. We're coming back into a chorus, and our choruses are always really snappy. We're never going to have too many lyrics in a chorus. Unlike Maiden, which is sort of a Lord of the Rings novel in the chorus.
People singing with us on the chorus.
Yeah.
So you've got the big old vocal hook, which is important, I think.
Yeah.
It's just nicely actually turned me on to the next question I had, which is, as a musician myself, I find it incredibly interesting to understand how different bands write and come up with songs, because there are so many different ways that people do it, whether it's just turning up with no ideas and jamming, whether it's one person in band writes the whole track and everyone just plays their parts. So I'm really intrigued by Perseus. And how do you write material within the band?
Well, I think we usually, especially myself and Alan, we are the riff guys. We usually come up with riffs, and sometimes we meet up, even in this studio here. We just jam a little bit, try to see what happens, and if it works. But usually we have an idea of a riff, and we just present that riff in the studio, and see what happens, and then we start building up from there. Like, okay. I come up with an idea or with a bass part. I know Alan then makes his guitar parts, and the lyrics usually it's between me and Lee, isn't it?
Yeah, but then Alan chucks stuff in there as well. And it's like,
yeah. I think we all actually write together, but it's not like we present the song like I've got this, you need to do this. No, we usually have an idea. Or even, it happens sometimes, like having just a single riff and just, that sounds good, and just go from there.
So you just start building. So you as a band will work a lot in the studio.
Yeah, exactly. We build from one riff, and or in the studio, and then we all work together in building up all the parts.
Yeah, and we all kind of, we have to agree on it to work on it. So if somebody comes with, if Pedro plays a bass line, and we're like, I'm not really feeling that. It's like, but we might like that element, and then we'll switch it around, kind of mess around with stuff.
Right.
But if we agree on a riff, because Pedro will normally share with Alan will start putting some sort of melody together on the guitar, and then they'll bring it to studio, and then Pedro and I'll instantly start thinking, right, let's think about these lyrics or whatever, and Pedro writes incredible lyrics and really kind of snappy lyrics. My lyrics are a little bit sometimes drawn out, so we'll work and we'll edit it together, and then Pedro will kind of break that down a little bit and get a catchy kind of chorus, and
it's like sort of a poetry kind of style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we all work together, and we all have to agree on it to go with it, and it's generally within about 10 minutes of a riff being presented, we know whether we're going to like it or not, and then run with it.
Okay, so we've had 2 singles out here. So we had one in 2021, and we also had Silent came out in 2022 that I can see on Spotify. So what's the plan? Are we going to get an EP, an album? What's the current recording sort of look for the band going forward?
Do you know answer that?
I did. You go for it.
So we do have a new single coming out as well, possibly for Christmas. That's called Wolfman.
What you're calling it, Wolfman? we still haven't agreed. It's either going to just be.
I was trying to make you happy now.
No, because I wanted it Wolfman, but then somebody said Wolf. I don't know. What should we call it? Just decide now.
Let's call it Wolfman then.
It's going to be Wolfman.
It's going to be Wolfman. All right, there we go. You heard it here first or second.
So yeah, that is coming out very soon. And I can also say that we're going to have a remix and remastered of Jane Austen.
Okay.
We're going to make it more sort of radio friendly, let's put it this way. So it won't be as long. It will be like completely remixed. So that would be coming out as well. Not sure if it's still this year, but we're definitely going to have one probably for Christmas as a Christmas present from Perseus. Wolfman.
Wolfman, there you go. So the reason I'm asking this is it's one of the things I have noticed with bands, especially this year, is that a lot of bands are just going down the route of single track releases now. Rather than going down the route of EPs, albums, bands are finding it either from a financial point of view, it makes more sense with the listening demographic, the way that listeners are now working, where they just want something new every so often. They're just doing a single here and there, and their plans. So some bands I've spoken to are saying they've got plans for 5 new songs next year, and they'll be dropping one every sort of 2.5 months. They've got a plan for each single. So is this something that was in the back of your head when you were coming up with the single releases, or what was the reason?
I mean, we want an album, we want to do that, and we want to get the right songs for that album, and at the minute we're predominantly a live band, but we want some more time to be recording, and I think the difficulty with that is, it's like you were saying, you're in a band as well, David, but there's loads of stuff going on, and that's the same with us. I mean, if we could spend, a week in a studio and record an album all in one go, then we would, but just time doesn't allow that. But the aim is to have a really kick-ass album, that recorded and released. And I think, we're the reason we're kind of we're putting these singles out because we're proud of those songs. And there's no kind of thinking behind it, there's no planning behind it. It's just like we record. If we agree we're all happy with it, we'll get that out, and then we'll promote it. But the aim is, and the aim always has been, to have a really good, strong album. The album's got to have a story between those songs. So what we're playing live at the minute fits live, but would it all fit in the context of an album? We're not so sure at the minute.
Okay. So I guess the last question I have for you guys is, we're here at the end of 2022. It's December, and it still will be December when this comes out. So 2023, what's the sort of thought for the band? What do you want to achieve for next year?
Well, I would like to achieve to play in really cool stages with really cool bands, and if possible, record their album.
So we've got an album and big old stages. That's always an achievement. Well, it is achievable in certain cases, but
they don't have to be big stages. They need to be like really cool stages.
You just got to win Metal to the Masses at whichever heat and get to the end of that to play Bloodstock.
We're not going to start with Metal for the Masses.
No.
But we've been there, done that, and I don't think we'll be entering next year.
We'll come back to Metal to the Masses in a minute, actually, because I'll be intrigued to get your thoughts on it. But so Lee, any sort of plans for what you think the band should achieve next year or 2023?
Yeah, so, I mean, much like Pedro said, I think we need to write more material. We've got some great songs in the works, and we've got a gig on the 10th of December where we're hopefully playing our newest song, which is really cool. It's proper kind of old school rock mixed with metal, really catchy chorus and stuff like that. So we're excited about that. But
like a glam rock chorus.
Yeah, like a glam rock chorus almost. Like who did Blackout in the Red Room? What was that band?
Love Hate.
Yeah, it's like the Love Hate kind of chorus.
Okay.
Which, really looking forward to. We want to write. We've got some really cool ideas, and I know Alan has got his really epic metal song in mind. So it's writing, practicing, and we want to play some more shows and some bigger shows as well. You know, there's some bigger venues around Norwich that we want to get on stage for as well, and supporting some bigger bands, hopefully.
Well, fingers crossed for that, and fingers crossed for some new music from you guys next year. Well, that is Perseus, that is Lee and Gogo. Thank you very much for joining me on today on the ADK channel, and we will, of course, see you very soon, everyone. And please do like, share, and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching. Take care.